Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation, with an update about Canada Post policies with regards to gold bullion and non-manufactured precious metals. Most of you are aware of the video that I posted, which tail-ended Josh Galt's video about the Royal Canadian Mint Postal Service prohibiting the mailing of gold bullion, gold dust, and non-manufactured precious metals. And upon looking at that language, which, as I mentioned in my original video, it seemed a little bit confusing as to what non-manufactured precious metals was, and also the timing of all this. And there's a lot of questions that has arisen from this, and we've got a little bit more answers now, thanks mostly to Redneck Stacker, and I'll post a link to his video in the description below, because he actually called the main office and got some answers. But there's still some unanswered questions as to why, because to me, it just kind of, his research has actually caused a little bit more questions as to why they're excluding some things and including others. But nonetheless, it is interesting. They also had learned from another a viewer that apparently this section 5.2, which is where we're at, that has been updated. Actually, with just section 5 that was updated, but obviously it's some contents therein, is this portion here, the gold bullion, gold dust, and non-manufactured precious metals, apparently has been around for 5 years, and it just kind of slipped under the radar. And what I'm about to tell you, which will be further clarified in Redneck Stacker's video, makes it very odd, very strange, and seems like it'd be even more difficult to enforce. Essentially, what non-manufactured precious metals is because it's separate from gold dust, is anything that is in a raw form, such as pay dirt or I guess silver shot, even though that is somewhat manufactured in my opinion. But anything that is in raw form or nugget form, I guess, or in an ore, dirt, that type of thing is prohibited. And I have no idea why that is, unless perhaps maybe their thinking is it could be confused for something dangerous and volatile. But so that would be the case. So that means that anything silver is okay to mail out as long as it's manufactured in bar form or coin form. Gold dust is separate here. And maybe their thinking is gold dust could be confused with some other dangerous chemical, because we see here we have under dangerous goods and a whole list of different things, and divided by different classes. And it makes total sense why these are not allowed. But it could be that up here in this language here, there could be some confusion as to gold dust and non-manufactured precious metals in the form of, some sort of dirt or something that could be confused for some of those dangerous goods listed by the different classifications below. The other thing is that they do specifically exclude gold bullion. Now, what is gold bullion? Now, Redneck Stacker's answer from the Canada Post is anything that doesn't have a denomination on it. So Canadian maple leafs are totally fine, but a Royal Canadian Mint 1 ounce gold bar in an assay card would not be allowed because it's gold bullion, even though really a Royal Canadian Mint gold maple leaf is gold bullion as well. So it's very unclear. I think, and I don't understand why that's still prohibited, especially based off of the other reasons, the other things I mentioned. I can understand non-manufactured precious metals now, but they're allowing a 1 ounce silver bar to be mailed out, or a 10 ounce silver bar to be mailed out, but not a gold bar or a gold round. By the way, it could be any kind of gold round that's considered bullion that is not allowed to be mailed, prohibited. Why is that? I have no idea. Now, here's the other interesting thing. I looked and I did a search for non-manufactured precious metals, and they're saying that if it's registered mail, that coins, jewelry, manufactured and non-manufactured precious metals, precious stones, canceled or uncanceled postage stamps, um, could include anything in registered mail. So if it's registered mail, you can mail anything. Coins, jewelry, manufactured, non-manufactured precious metals. That includes gold. So this draws much more confusion about a policy, by the way, that went under the radar for 5 years. If what the viewer who left a comment on my previous video is, if he's correct in that, I don't know, because I don't pay attention to the intricacies of Canada Post as an American, and my guess is most Canadians don't pay attention to these small details and things on non-mailable matter. But anyways, it's a very interesting indeed, where things are and how that's being played out. But so there's an update for that, and I'd be curious to see why that is the case with the gold bullion. Why you're not allowed to mail that. Registered, well, at least non-registered mail you can't. But why? Why is that? If it's at your own risk for insurance and the like, if it's registered, yeah, that's more protected and that's fine. Um, and um, and it's obviously allowed in the U.S. I don't know about mailing. I haven't checked to see the U.S. Postal Service's website to see if there's any prohibitions on non-manufactured precious metals or gold bullion or gold dust with the United States Postal Service, but nonetheless. So, as I said in my previous video, I really didn't know what their motive was for this. You know, it's just so vague. But now understanding a slightly better what's going on, my guess is there's nothing nefarious going on here. But it does leave some questions and some contradictions because, my guess is anything the Postal Service, whether it be the United States or Canada or wherever, their main issue is safety and obviously any kind of liability. They don't want to be held liable for anything, and so that'd be kind of a safety measure. So that leads us to wonder, it can make sense for some of the things that may be perceived to be dangerous or super expensive, maybe. But there's a lot of expensive things out there, not just gold bullion wise. It could be anything from a rare clock to a guitar to what have you. So your best bet is always have to send that via registered mail anyway. But that's up to the responsibility of the parties involved. Nothing that the Canada Post should be held liable for, in my opinion, if they don't insure it. So nonetheless, it is interesting. So it answers some questions, but in answering those questions, it raises more questions. But I want to give a shout out and thanks to Redneck Stacker for his due diligence and his pursuing it and calling them as a Canadian to be able to get those answers. And he did a great job. And again, his videos can be much more thorough in outlining this. And so I encourage you to click on his video in the description below for the information on it, and we'll see. You'll get a lot more questions answered, and maybe he can follow up, and who knows, where it goes. Now, the other option that he did talk about in that video is it's based off of pure gold bullion. So what does that mean about 92% or American Eagles? Would that fall in that category? It's kind of a very specific there as to what the answers that he got from them, from their central office there. So we'll see how it all plays out. And again, if it's 5 years old, why are we just now finding this? Why wasn't this discovered before? I'd never heard about this for the last 5 years. Something was changed in Section 5, and Josh Galt went through and checked it out because he needed to for his for what he does, and he noticed it and saw it there. Could it be that this language was here? Who knows? I'm not going to go back in the Wayback Machine to find out, but I'm I'm going to take the gentleman's word for it that it was around for 5 years. But I wanted to update my viewers on this. Certainly did not want to expose a panic. I thought it made it pretty clear that I wasn't sure what their intention was, but nonetheless, one could easily see how this could be one way for them to try to, if they were so desired, to try to muck up the commerce of precious metals in some way or another, if they so wanted to do that. The same thing happened with ammo purchases here in the United States. Ammunition was purchased by the Social Security Administration and other government entities that had really no business buying ammunition, but they did anyway. And people were wondering, why is the government doing this? Why are they buying up all the ammo? And, because there's an adage, never trust the government. And any kind of government agency gets involved, it does make you wonder. And it's okay to question, and I question it too, but I didn't want us to draw any conclusions before really finding out. Now we have a better idea of what's going on. And again, thanks to Redneck Stacker for the research that he did. And I hope you got some more information. I hope that helps clear things up with this video. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.